Now, sis, honestly, I believe that this is a subject that we need to be talking more about, because just like we want to be growing spiritually, we want to be growing in our relationship with God. Part of that is being good stewards of whatever the Lord has blessed us in this life right now. Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Melody and I make faith-based content here on YouTube. I post new videos every single Monday. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely be sure and subscribe. I would love to have you join the family. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about money habits. I honestly believe that this conversation on finances is something that we are not having enough in the Christian space. So my hope with this video and this conversation that we're going to get started today is that we're able to bridge the gap between Christians and finances, because sis, this is the important stuff that we also need to talk about. As much as we are growing in our faith, we need to be good stewards of the tangible gifts that the Lord has given us in our life right now. And so in this video, I want to start off this potential series on money, again, bridging that gap between Christians and finances, with sharing with you guys 5 habits, specifically 5 money habits that have personally changed my life. These are things that I've implemented over the course of the last 8 years since I came into relationship with God in 2015. I'm trying to do the math as I'm saying it. So yeah, 8 years. So over the course of these 8 years, I have truly seen my financial situation do multiple 180s, guys. I have truly gone up and down on this roller coaster of finances, and I feel like I'm finally at a good place, again, by having conversations with others, learning so much from my husband, but also putting into practice what the word says when it comes to finances. So I'm really excited to share with you these 5 habits, because I believe that at least one of them can be implemented in your life today. Now, before we hop into it, I feel like it's important for us to just get some context on what the Bible says about money. And so for me, when I think about money in the Bible, being a good steward of our finances, I always go back to a parable. It is the parable of the talents, and that comes from Matthew chapter 25 verses 14 through 30. So basically this parable opens up, again, Matthew chapter 25, it opens up with saying that a man is going to go on a journey. Now before he goes on this journey, he gathers 3 servants. To the first servant he gave 5 talents, to the second servant he gave 2 talents, and to the third servant he gave 1 talent. So now this man goes away on his journey, and the servants put the money to work. Well, some of them do. So the first servant, who was given 5 talents, he doubles it. He now has 10 talents. The second servant was able to also double their talents, and he went from 2 talents to 4 talents. But when it comes down to the last servant, who was given 1 talent, all he did was dig a hole, put the talent in it, and leave it there. So after a while, the man comes back from his journey. He gathers these 3 servants together and is basically like, okay, it's time to settle these accounts. So the first servant, who was given 5 talents, says, all right, you gave me 5 talents. Here, I'm able to give you 10 back. And to this, the man was overjoyed. He started praising this servant and said, my good and faithful servant, well done. You were faithful over a few things. Now I'm going to put you in charge of many things. Then we get into servant number 2, who was given 2 talents. He was able to say, you gave me 2 talents. Here, I'm giving you 4 back. And the man repeated the same thing. Well done, my good and faithful servant. And then it is the last servant's turn. All he has to show for what he was given is exactly what he got, 1 talent. And to this, the man is very upset. He basically tells him that he is lazy. He tells him that he might as well have put that money in the bank. At least then he would have seen some interest on it. And he banishes him from his presence. Now from there, the parable ends with this servant being thrown into darkness. Now something that we can pull from this, and something that always stands out to me when it comes to this parable, is the fact that first of all of us are going to be given different things. One servant was given 5 talents. The next servant was given 2 talents. The next servant was giving 1 talent. So regardless of what we have, there is this expectation that we are going to be good stewards. And I think that when we think about all of the financial blessings, or even the lack that we have coming from the Lord, it changes our perspective. Everything that we have is a gift from the Lord. And so when we have that mindset in check, that allows us to be good stewards, to be mindful, to be thoughtful, to be intentional, to be God honoring with what we do with our money when we consider that it is truly not ours, just like the servant's money was not theirs. So with all that being said and this parable fresh on our heart, let's go ahead and jump into the 5 money habits that have truly transformed my life and my marriage. Number 1 on our list today, the very first money habit that has truly transformed my life is tithing. Now, when it comes to tithing, the definition is giving 10% of what you make back to the Lord. So for me, this looks like giving 10% of everything I make to my local church. Now, this is something that's really important to myself, something that's really important to my husband, and something that God has truly convicted me on. But through this process of tithing, I have seen my view and my perception of money change so much. So let's just do a quick little rewind back to like college Mel. I was very stingy, guys. Like, I was the type of person that would lend you $1 or buy you lunch or do something like that. But the whole time I'm thinking, when are you gonna pay me back? Or when are you gonna give me that money back? You're gonna give me my money back, right? And then I'm gonna see you again. And then that's all I'm thinking in my head. Like, I just was so incredibly stingy. And by tithing, it has changed my heart posture towards money. I no longer view money as this thing that I need to cling on to. I view it as something that the Lord gives me, and I have comfort in knowing that it comes from God. I don't have to worry about where it's gonna come from. I don't have to worry so much because it's a gift from a father to his daughter. And so with that, tithing then is just this natural outpouring of, gosh, God, thank you so much for this gift. The least I can do is give you 10% back. I want to just leave this verse with you guys because there are not a lot of places in the Bible where it says, test me, where God is like, test me in this area. And when it comes to tithing, that is something that it is written in the word. So the verse is Malachi chapter 3, verses 10 through 12. So let's just go ahead and pop it up on the screen real quick and read it together. It says, bring the full tithe into the storehouse so that there may be food in my house, and thus put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. See if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing blessing. I feel like this verse says it all. So if you have not started tithing or you've been on the fence about it and really wondering like, how is this going to impact my finances? Put God to the test and he will not fail you. So that is going to be number 1. So number 2 on our list today, the second money habit that has truly transformed my life is just making sure that my passwords, my accounts, as well as my identity in general is safe online. I don't know if you guys have heard the stories, but it is real out here. Accounts being hacked, things being leaked, and that's the last thing that my husband and I want to experience. And I'm sure that's the last thing that you want to experience either. It is something that we have to be so much more mindful of because of the day and age that we are in. Now, there is a specific app that has helped me do this really seamlessly, and I am not like a technological girl. I like things to be very simple. And so Aura really helps keep things simple, but also safe and secure. So I want to go ahead and thank Aura for sponsoring this portion of the video and tell you guys a little bit about them and why my husband and I truly find their services invaluable. So Aura monitors our credit card accounts to make sure that there's no suspicious activity, and it requests the removal of my information from people's search websites and data brokers. So if you're not familiar with data brokers, think how you get all of those spam calls. It's companies that are taking your data and selling it. Those are data brokers. So Aura really has almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need all in one product. We love the password manager, which basically means all of our passwords are housed in one place. That's extremely helpful for my husband and I. We also use the real-time credit and identity theft monitoring. We're thinking about purchasing a second property next year, so really being on top of our credit score, that has been really important to us. And also something that we're thinking about for the future is those internet parental controls. And Aura allows you to restrict certain apps, and you can even set time limits so your kids aren't binging YouTube videos all day. You can customize what they can see online, and it even detects cyberbullying from online predators and toxic gaming behavior. So this is stuff, again, like our daughter isn't at that age yet, but we're having those conversations because we know we're gonna blink and we're gonna be in that space. So we're so grateful for everything that Aura does for us now, but also how it's able to grow with us as our daughter grows to make sure that we are keeping her safe online. So I definitely encourage you guys to check Aura out. Let them do the hard work of keeping you safe online. If you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial with my link. So go to aura.com/melody to start your free trial. This will also be linked below in the description box. So thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring this portion of the video and for keeping us safe online. Now that is going to be habit number 2. So number 3 on our list today, the third money habit that has truly transformed my life and marriage is curbing my impulse spending. Now, when it comes to impulse spending, I noticed for myself, this looked like at a certain point throughout a month or even in a week, my desire for things was just turned on. And I feel like social media has a huge part to play in this, so being mindful of my triggers. But in general, I recognize for myself that when I get that itch to just start swiping or shopping, it's because I'm trying to satisfy something in my soul that this thing is actually never going to satisfy. And you might be able to relate to it. It's just this feeling of looking outside of yourself and outside of your relationship with the Lord to satisfy you. And while it might temporarily satisfy, ultimately having the new bag, the new purse, the new shoes is not going to change your life. It is not actually going to fill that hole in your heart that is that God-sized hole that you need to get quenched, that thirst you need to get quenched by just spending time with Jesus. This is a habit that's been easier for me to implement throughout the years, but it's something that I still have to be very, very aware of. And so something tangible that I do to really curb this impulse spending is just putting a little delay on the purchases that I make. So while I might put something in my Amazon cart, I'll try to wait a few days as well as talk to my husband about it and really see, is this a true need? Now, do I do this every time? No, you know what I mean? We are definitely not perfect over here and we are transparent about not being perfect, but this is something that has helped me on this journey with this specific habit. So that is going to be habit number 3. So number 4 on our list, the 4th money habit that has truly transformed my life and marriage is paying off debt. Now, this is something that I didn't go into marriage with a lot of, but prior to being married, I definitely went through seasons of having a lot of debt. Luckily, my mom imparted on me pretty young some good money habits, but I had to learn the hard way with a few. And so for me, when I first got my first credit card at like 18, I unfortunately had that mindset that this is free money. And so I swipe. My mom told me only use this credit card for gas and then pay it off immediately. But did I listen? I definitely didn't. I was swiping on food, swiping on this, swiping on that. And then I hit the limit and I realized, oh my gosh, I have to pay this back with interest. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. And so this is something going into marriage, my husband had more debt than I did. We both have student loan debts, but he had a personal loan. And so that's something that we were able to tackle together. And it was really great to be able to just get, in the words of my dad, get that man out my pocket. You know what I mean? Like just to be free from debt. Now, it's not like we're totally free from debt. We have a house, we have a car, like we definitely have large purchases and loans for those purchases, but just being able to get off of credit card debt and get specifically off of personal loan debt, that was huge for us. And I feel like keeping that mindset really is in alignment with what the word says. There is this verse in Psalms, I'm gonna go ahead and pop it up now, and it is Psalms chapter 37 verse 21, and it says, "The wicked borrows and does not pay back, but the righteous is gracious and gives." And I feel like this really sums up how we should approach our debt. We need to work to be paying it off. We need to pay it off wisely and not necessarily need to focus all of our energy at all times towards paying off specific debt, but in general, working to be debt free, I believe is something that is biblical and something that I've seen the fruit of in my life and my marriage. So number 5 on our list today, the 5th and final money habit that has truly transformed my life, and specifically this one, my marriage, is being an active participant in our finances. Sis, this one applies to you whether you are single, engaged, married. Get into the nitty-gritty details of your finances. I had this mindset prior to us getting married, and then it carried over into marriage, and I had to rid myself of it. I didn't like looking at the details. I didn't want to see how much I was spending this way. I didn't want to know. I just wanted to believe that everything was going to be fine, and by the grace of God, everything was always fine, but I wasn't being the best steward of my finances. I wasn't being the best steward of knowing how much I'm spending here, how much I'm coming out here, because I never looked into it. Now, when we got married, my husband is the complete opposite of me. And so he was very logical and very intentional about being a good steward of this dual income that we both now have. So throughout the course of the last 2.5 years, I have just grown exponentially in this area, and it has made, one, my knowledge of just our household finances and everything that's going on, especially now that we have children. I'm just so much more aware, and heaven forbid if something ever happened to my husband, I now would be able to take over and know where things are going and coming, versus before I truly would be in the dark. And it's not in the dark because my husband isn't asking me to come join him. It was because I was doing that to myself. And this also was, I'm just gonna be transparent with you guys, this was a point of contention in our marriage. My husband wanted more participation, and I just wanted to like stay in the dark. But I'm happy to say that I've grown so much, and this has become a habit that I'm really proud of myself for developing. So I hope this can encourage you to know that however you manage your finances now isn't the way that you have to continuously manage them. Like, you're able to get in new knowledge, you're able to take in new things and then change, do things better. And I hope this video is that first place that gives you permission to start making those changes in a God-honoring way. So that is going to be the 5th and final money habit. All right, sis, that is going to be it for me. These are 5 money habits that have truly transformed my life and marriage. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And now, of course, it is your turn. So in the comments below, I would love to know, what is a one good money habit that has served you well? I feel like we should encourage each other with our positive money habits in the comments. So definitely take a second, drop yours, scroll on through and get some inspiration. I know I am going to. As always, I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.